So my name is Kevin Simmonds, and I'm a partner within PwC cybersecurity practice. I've been supporting a number of clients with building and maintaining PCI programs, as well as helping them with enhancing their vulnerability management programs over the last 20 years. So I thought it'd be helpful to start with the problem statement, just to make sure that we're all on the same page about what the opportunity is. And maybe if you flip it and look at it differently, it's really highlighting the challenge that organizations are facing today and saying it that how can you bring together leading cloud security practices as well as vulnerability management all together to better achieve PCI compliance. When you look at this diagram, it's really ensuring that you understand the intentionality that it should be there when you think about cloud security, vulnerability management, and PCI programs, and how that's going to be key to success. These things shouldn't come together periodically or just annually. It should be, as we talk about from a VM standpoint and other parts of PCI, this should be a part of the business as usual and the continuous interaction from a PCI program, securing the organization, and driving compliance. Now, while helping various clients in their environments to help them either achieve compliance or secure their environment, I continue to see the same mix of challenges that really drove why it's helpful to drive this point home and think about it, which is where there's an opportunity to really drive better security to reduce the likelihood of an incident, as well as drive better compliance with the teams. Some of those challenges include having outdated cloud security control framework, or only focusing vulnerability management on the traditional infrastructure and not looking at it from a cloud standpoint. And even that element of, do you have control owners mapped to the elements of how you're using the cloud, the different resources within? Those things are often a part of the challenges that we see that drives a breakdown in security or even compliance. So with that backdrop, let's dig into one of the two key areas, which is cloud security. Now, when you think about organizations and how do you seek to get to a better state from a cloud security standpoint, it's important to focus on those three key dimensions: people, process, technology. And from a people standpoint, it's critical to have the right resources that are collaborating across the different teams. And not just about, do I have a name in the box so that I say that they're responsible for it, but it's, do they have the right skills? Do they understand what's needed there? And can they collaborate well across the business and across the different teams? Because that's key to any element of driving security and compliance. Then there's a formal process that's needed to support the interactions with the different teams, from information security to the PCI team, as well as driving those initiatives throughout the year. Any ad hoc efforts or inconsistencies in that process can impact your ability to reduce risk, as well as collaborate across the different teams. Now, from a technology standpoint, there's various products in the market that can assist you with quickly identifying issues from a configuration standpoint. Some of them are native to the cloud provider. Some of them are third-party solutions that you can acquire. If you go over to the showroom, I'm pretty sure you'll find folks who either talk about it or even try and sell it. So it's important to have those three different dimensions included, because if not, you make the job of reducing risk and driving compliance even more challenging. Now, while on this journey to driving better cloud security and maintaining PCI compliance, it's helpful to know what good looks like. That's the reason why I tried to highlight not all, but some of the different key practices that should be considered when you're thinking about, how do I drive better cloud security? First one is around the cloud security control framework. That's what the team should be looking at and saying, this is kind of my North Star, what I should be considering when I think about cloud security. That could include having controls that are very specific to what's expected for that specific CSP. That's also looking at the mapping of those different controls to the DSS or any other framework that is needed for the organization when you think about achieving compliance and securing the organization. Second is having a cloud security solution that's been operationalized. Not just, oh, we acquired one, not just, oh, we have a license to eventually try them out. Is it truly operating and supporting an organization? Now, I would recommend that not only just a CSPM, but more even a cloud-native application protection platform, or CNAPP solution should be entertained, given the enhanced capability and visibilities that it provides into that cloud environment, as well as the different resources that you have operating in the cloud. Then there's automation and DevSecOps. Ideally, organizations should be finding opportunities to automate the deployment and the securing of cloud resources to assist you with maintaining PCI compliance. Lastly, there's various storage solutions that are used to assist with managing the cardholder data that's in that environment. It's not always just around the database and encryption of the database. When you think about it from a cloud standpoint, it goes way beyond that traditional element. It includes things like the key management vault. Or if you think about the different cloud resources and solutions that you use, they have encryption capabilities and configurations within those that you need to consider. How is that configured? Is it considering those expectations defined in the DSS? And also, am I maintaining it in alignment with all the other requirements that are tied to encryption? These things need to be better understood beyond just, oh, where are the databases where card data exists, and is it encrypted using the default SQL encryption options? It's a lot broader than that. Now, I mentioned CNAPP on the previous slide, given its role that it can play in helping organizations gain better visibility into securing the cloud environment as well as maintaining PCI compliance. On this slide, I wanted to highlight that there's a lot more that CNAPP can provide you visibility into. It looks at a number of different places outside of just vulnerability management. If I have my count correct, you'll probably see 7 different requirements and domains that a CNAPP solution can provide you visibility into. So when you think about it, it's a great product to always first ensure that the environment and the resources are secure, and secondarily, how are we maintaining compliance across these different areas? Why not leverage a solution that gives you better visibility in a one-stop shop? Second topic, vulnerability management, starting to bring these things together. Similar to the cloud security, I'm going to talk a little bit about the leading practices and things that should be considered when you think about vulnerability management in the cloud. The first one is around assisting you with ensuring that the quarterly scans that are performed are not omitting the cloud resources that are in use, or even updating the PCI inventory if there are new endpoints that are identified that are spun up, because a lot of assets spin up very quickly in the cloud. It's about agility. It's about the ability to put new resources in the cloud to support your operations and spin them down. But you can also use that to ensure that you're not missing something from your inventory to comply. Second one is, it's similar to the second bullet above, where it gives you a defensible process for scoring vulnerabilities to ensure that you're consistently identifying the true risk to the environment versus the static risk. And what I mean by those two different ones, when you think about a static standpoint, vulnerability scanners and other tools will provide you with a vulnerability risk level based on the database that defines what the risk is. But there's no context to it. It doesn't consider where does that asset sit? Are there any other controls in place? What is the data associated with that? That context gives you the ability to have a true score of risk to that vulnerability or that misconfiguration and how it should be handled as a part of the SLAs. So that context is helpful. For number 3, if you think about shifting left from a cloud vulnerability management standpoint, it includes identifying opportunities early in the deployment process. That's scanning containers, that's scanning your infrastructure as code templates to help you deploy assets and resources consistently within the cloud environment. For number 4, it's highlighting the importance of having a solution that can provide visibility into multiple cloud environments. It's not important just to have one, but the reality is a lot of organizations are using more than just one CSP. Azure, Google, GCP, Oracle, there's multiple ones that you end up using, so you want to ensure that you're getting visibility into all those environments. When I think about it from number 5 on this one, you want to integrate and automate the remediation wherever possible. This includes flowing the communication of non-compliance into other tools like a ticketing system or a messaging system. That could be a ServiceNow, that could be a Slack. It gives you the ability to drive more efficiency and communication, better compliance, and not waiting to the last minute when you have your QSA on site saying, show me the results, and now you have a lot of surprises that you need to chase down. For number 6, creating dashboards that are automatically fed data or pulling data from various systems is beneficial for the control owners, as well as the PCI team that's driving compliance. It gives those who are responsible for driving compliance visibility into what they need to do. It drives the PCI team, or provides the PCI team with the ability to quickly and easily know where there are hot spots that they need to dig into versus waiting too close to the time for your annual certification to say we need to work on addressing why we have some BAU issues that's resulting us being non-compliant at the moment. Number 7, teams can't ignore the serverless or managed services associated with cloud. People talk about, or maybe you have or have not heard about it, but there are serverless services that are provided to clients in the environment so that they can operate in a more agile way in a lighter application. But you have to understand, what does that mean from a security and compliance standpoint? That piece is important, and also understanding what are the permissions that are assigned to those assets and resources in the cloud to make sure that the appropriate PCI DSS requirements are also applied there, and those control owners understand what their expectations are to also even provide you with artifacts to substantiate that they are compliant from that standpoint. With number 8, teams should be thinking about opportunities where they can leverage machine learning and artificial intelligence. It could assist you with quickly identifying spikes and vulnerabilities and understanding what is the root cause of that spike. What process broke down, what changed, what was enabled, how do we better understand this a lot faster? All right. So I talked a little bit about AI from a vulnerability management standpoint, but I thought it'd be helpful to talk about agentic AI. There's been a lot of buzz on it. There's a lot of articles, a lot of speculation, a lot of questions, a lot of excitement. So I figured, based on what we've been doing with clients, to take a little slice of that and apply it to how it ties in with vulnerability management and what we're discussing today and what could be considered. So it's just a quick overview and just trying to make sure we're all on the same page and understand. Agentic AI system is an autonomous AI that can set goals based on input from humans, and then it acts to achieve that. The system includes an orchestrator that interacts with the humans, and then you have an agent that performs a task. Ultimately, the orchestrator and the agent work together to autonomously achieve the objective that you've defined for them and set as an expectation. Now, when we look at the vulnerability remediation and how it's typically handled today, there's a decent amount of manual and automated activities within. As you see represented within the slide, and on the red lines, you'll see where the red and the remediation flow and how everything works together. But as you look at the middle and to the right, that's where you start to see a lot more of the manual activities associated with vulnerability management. Now, here's a closer view into that remediation process and the manual steps within. Now, when you look at it from that angle, I would say, well, this is a prime place where you can leverage agentic AI to help you with efficiencies, security, and achieving PCI compliance consistently across all of the technology within your environment. That's applications, that's servers, that's workstations, that's databases, that's anywhere where you're getting insight into, is something compliant, is it secure, and does it need to be remediated? Now, on this slide, I provide a little more visibility into how agentic AI could specifically assist with remediation. First, you have the API agent that assists the agentic AI system with talking to various systems and gathering information. Then you have that triage agent that watches for the vulnerability tickets that's created within Snow or Jira and saying, what do we now need to do and consider based on the information and the tickets that are out there? The research agent executes analysis to better understand the risk associated with that exposure. So now it's doing an understanding of saying, what does it really mean? Is this a big issue? Is it not? What do we need to do about it? It's doing the work to understand the context to make decisions. And then you have the chatbot that can assist with interacting with the remediation teams. So just think about how leveraging agentic AI in this scenario has the potential to reduce the time spent by a number of hours for both the operational team as well as the governance team or the PCI team. I would say it's a prime place to consistently drive compliance and security and activities in a place that is a challenge for organizations today, which is you're still challenged with, am I actually reducing risk And am I able to get the vulnerability count down so that I don't have to come up with a creative story about how I'm managing vulnerabilities throughout the year and also when the QSA comes out? So I talked about vulnerability management, cloud security best practices, as well as agentic AI and how that can assist this process with driving efficiency, consistency, and also maintaining PCI compliance. But I figured it's about the convergence, right? So let me bring it all together and wrap this up for you. In my opinion, to better position organizations to secure their environment and be PCI compliant, there's 4 key things that should be considered. Have and drive strong cloud security requirements. Execute comprehensive vulnerability management practices across all environments. Create strong relationships and reporting with various stakeholders. And lastly, leverage automation whenever possible. Artificial intelligence, or agentic AI. These things will assist you with creating clear expectations, integration with various teams, and reducing your time spent on PCI DSS readiness or compliance year after year. And with that, I appreciate your time. If you have any questions, feel free to email me. I'll be around for a little bit. Safe travels and enjoy.